Yes, so how's that for a cup classic? Manchester United 4, Liverpool 3 in extra time at Old Trafford for the FA Cup quarterfinals. What a match, guys! Oh man, what a roller coaster of emotions I had back there. I think this match lasted, I think, for 3 hours or so. It was such an engaging game. Oh, what a match! I'm going to remember this match for so long. For so long, you can imagine. I think it's been about a year since I've recorded something for YouTube and for Spotify, and this has been worth it. What a game we just had. Oh man, what I think I'll take some time to digest and dissect this game. Oh man, what a game this was. Oof. And after witnessing so many losses, so many disappointments, to win it in pretty much the last minute of the game at home in such a fashion was completely worth it. It was an entertaining, epic, cult classic. I think this game is going to live on forever. This game is going to be referred to again and again. So this is something that I feel really privileged to have watched this game and then to be commenting on this. So just to start with, I think the kind of emotions that I went through during this game were the whole spectrum. You could very well feel the whole spectrum of emotions. I was completely ecstatic when the first goal went in, and that was something that I felt like we started the game really well. McTominay opened the scoring very well. He has a knack for being at the right place at the right time. So kudos to him. I think we started off very well. Even Liverpool would have been surprised as to the cadence at which we were playing. We felt much more ready. We felt like we wanted more. Uh, just towards the end of the first half, I felt like we kind of lost control a little, and I just was waiting for the halftime whistle to go because I just kind of, you could sense that Liverpool were kind of clawing back into the game. Uh, so the inevitable happened. We conceded the first goal, which we quite deserved to concede. I felt like we switched off a little, and probably we were not used to playing the game at such an high intensity. So probably that energy was also waning a little. So during that time, I felt like we were pretty much heading towards the fact that we are going to concede a goal, and it was really disappointing because it took me back to the City game which we had just a few weeks ago, which in a very similar fashion we opened the scoring, but then again we were not able to keep up that level, and the gulf in class also crept back in. So we conceded the first goal, and then we conceded another one, and I felt like I was reverting more uh, to the new state of mind that I have now as a United fan. And this is something that I also want to know if fellow United fans also face. I remember when I started watching Manchester United, I think somewhere around 2008 or something, or 7, we used to win everything. And probably, admittedly, is why I became a United fan as well. It was nothing conscious, but you always want to root for the guy who's winning, right? Uh, and always, I always used to have this optimism saying that even if we're down in the game, even if the game is tied, we are still going to win it at the end. And this is the kind of optimism that I always used to watch matches with, right? This is something that I even during Moyes' era, during Louis van Gaal's era, or Mourinho's era, even when things were really bad, I always used to watch these matches having an inherent feeling that we're United, we're going to nick it at the end, right? Because that is who we are. uh, but as I've watched these games more and more, probably I feel that eternal optimism as a United fan is waning a little. So, and that is what happened when we went down to 1. I was just thinking, we couldn't even hold on to the lead just for these 2 minutes until the halftime break comes up, and we are still able to, recuperate and get our energies back and bring in that focus. But that couldn't happen. We couldn't sustain that lead. And even when the second half started, we were back to our old ways. While in the first half, I was completely surprised by the way that we approached the game. I think we showed a lot of intent, we showed a lot of hunger, we showed that probably we wanted it more, and that was visible. And I know that these things kind of get thrown around a lot, but and these are pretty much the basics as well. But that is what I believe we've not been able to do well, which is the basics. So it was refreshing to see a lot of energy. I didn't think that the players were tired. Whenever I see these, games, I feel that the players seem a lot really fatigued, even in the first few minutes. So that was something which was very fresh. The way that we were going for 50-50s, which is, according to me, a really good way of telling how much the intent is, and I think that was to the maximum. Uh, the way that we were going for 50-50s and throwing in tackles, not being afraid of getting a foul here or there or getting booked or anything like that. I think even Liverpool took some time to just understand the way we were controlling the game. I think that there was superb interplay, in the attacking third. If you remember that a little, step over, or the way that Kobe Manu, took on, I think, two or three Liverpool players from left to right, shuffling his feet very quickly. I think that was amazing. I'm so glad that we found Kobe Manu, and I so impressed by that guy. But yeah, coming back to the game, that period from the start of the second half to pretty much the 80th, 85th minute till Anthony came on and scored. Uh, I was again, in my own head. I think I zoned out a little from the game, and I felt like, why am I wasting my Sunday evening, Sunday night watching this game? I could have been, doing other things. Uh, and I was thinking, what good does this do to me? Being a United fan, it drains you so much. You kind of build up to this game, all week. You watch all these previews, and you're thinking, okay, probably this time, the result would be different, and you kind of start thinking that, or at least I do. I'm going into that spiral, thinking, these guys always do this. They give me a lot of hope, and then it ends up in so much pain, right? So I was thinking, as a grown man now, I mean, I should probably make better decisions, and I was just going into all that spiral. Then Anthony came on, and I was like, all right, sure, last throw of the dice, it seems. We also took out, I think we took out Varane as well, for Ahmad. So okay, I mean, uh, thinking on his feet and doing what is right, because anyway we were a goal down, so we had nothing to lose. It's not like goal difference counts or something. So I accept that fact, and when Anthony scored that goal, then I was almost checked out of that game. I was probably checking my phone, seeing, okay, let's just run this clock down and go on with our lives, right? But I was wrong, and I'm so happy to be wrong, because the way that Anthony came on, it felt like he had a point to prove. I still have my doubts about him. I don't think he's there technically yet, but yes, he did score a very crucial game. I think he's scored just one this year, that too against a lower tiered opposition. So I'm happy for the lad, of course. But after he scored that goal, I felt like, okay, this is, we're going on to something, and that is where I kind of got back up and thought, okay, now game on. But I was completely zoned in, and when Rashford got that chance, I felt like, okay, this is, we're not even going to extra time. This is it. And Rashford being Rashford of this season, couldn't finish it. Admittedly, it was a difficult chance. I thought he controlled the ball very well, uh, but that didn't happen, and I felt like, oh, this is how we're going to lose. I guess, right? Rashford is going to miss this one, and this is going to be the story, right? Uh, but yeah, we went into extra time. I think that is where I saw some spark from them. I think the players were also a little tired, and after that goal, I've not heard Old Trafford bouncing like that for quite some time now. Of course, we've not had a lot of reasons for that to do as well. But once we did score that goal, I think the whole place came alive, and we had a newfound inspiration to take this game all the way. So that went well. I think in the extra time as well, we played pretty well. I think there was, I don't even remember what was the formation, because I think we were playing three at the back. Bruno was on a yellow card, very close to being sent off. So he moved back a little, almost like a quarterback role. Ericsson was also there, dropping between defenders. Maguire was pretty much chasing long balls. He was going through behind, going through on goal. Uh, I think there was Dallo, he was going up and down. Same for Lindelof on the other side as well. So there was a lot of chaos, but for I mean, to you and me, it may be chaos, but that is how you adjust after almost playing 100 minutes, with knowing that you don't have a proper left back in place. Van Bissaka, of course, was coming back from an injury, so you could not play him as much. Same for Hoyland as well. So I like the fact that we were very resourceful. Of course, Ten Hag was resourceful, and the players obliged as well. Uh, I thought Anthony played well. Anthony, in the end, was playing as a left back, which I felt he did well and also agreed to. And that is probably one of the reasons why Ten Hag trusts in Anthony as well. And the way that people were switching positions and playing in different roles shows you that the dressing room, Ten Hag is very well in touch with that dressing room. So that's a good sign to have. I certainly, have, as you have may have been as well, uh, reading all the news about Ten Hag getting the sack since the new owners have come in, or the new partial owners have come in. Uh, while Ten Hag has not been as good as he should have been, I don't think this is something that should be a norm. That the new management comes in and we get a new manager. Uh, he has had limited resources. Of course, they could have been utilized better, but we are where we are. So I felt like Ten Hag did a good job. A lot of it was just working with what you've got and making the best out of that. I think the team played very well. Uh, once we got the once we went back, I felt like, oh, this is probably the sucker punch, right? Going behind with 10 minutes to go, I thought, okay, Harvey Elliott, very nice goal, I would say. Of course it gets a deflection, so Nana can't get to it. I felt like, okay, now this is over. We probably we were probably punching above our weight, to be very honest, right? We were challenging Liverpool. Liverpool, of course, have been very good this year. They're challenging for the Premier League as well. So I knew that probably as time goes on, the sheer class, the difference in class is going to play out. But I was wrong, and once Elliot, took Liverpool forward, I felt like we are going to try something. Let's see if it works out or not. And that ball from McTominay to Rashford, and the finish that Rashford had to place it into the far bottom corner, I thought that was an amazing finish. I mean, just as someone who plays football, you have to realize that the ball is coming from behind him. You can finish. You can finish when it's coming, from if it's coming straight on or from the side. But if it's coming from behind and you don't have enough time since you're in the box to actually look at where the goal is, where the goalie is, and to play that ball first time with such accuracy is is brilliant. It's one of the best finishes. I don't think it'll get the respect or that it deserves, because of course it's Manchester United. But I think it was a beautiful finish, right? And that got us back into the game again. So I thought, okay, this is going into penalties. I think we have great penalty takers. We have Bruno, we have Maguire, we've Mount, we have Ericsson, we have Dallo and all of those folks. So I was like, okay, I think we have a good chance to nick it in penalties. And all of a sudden, Liverpool being Liverpool, thinking, okay, we are the mighty Liverpool. These guys are the measly Manchester United of 2024. Why don't we attack? Why don't we play brave football? Since we're so good, anyway, we've probably substituted out our best players. We've gotten Mohamed Salah out. We've gotten Robertson out. We've gotten Luis Diaz out. Of course, right? I don't know what the reasons are behind that. I don't know whether those were tactical, those were, because of injury. But the sense that, see, as a United fan, of course, I hate Liverpool. I mean, that goes without saying. But even after the last match which we had, which was a 0-0 draw, if you remember what Virgil van Dijk had remarked after the game, he said that only one team was there to win it. Only one team wanted to win. And that was such a smug statement to make, because the game ended 0-0. While that was true in a sense, because we knew that we were battered 7-0 the last time out in the same fixture. So we were more pragmatic this time. Instead of being brave, we took the healthy approach and settled for a draw. And we were the only team, and I think we're still the only team, who has kept Liverpool goalless in this entire season. Right? Manchester City couldn't do that. Arsenal couldn't do that. Nobody else could. But we did, right? So we understood the situation and we acted rightly, right? So that pissed me off so much. Saying, I mean, and in the manner of saying as well that, only we wanted to win, that may be true, but I felt like Liverpool and Liverpool fans, Liverpool coaching team, especially Klopp, are so overly positive about their team. They are not someone who are critical about themselves. They don't introspect as much, or probably they don't say it out loud. Even after today, Klopp was all hunky-dory, as if nothing happened. But he knows that he's just lost his last FA Cup tie to the biggest rivals. And that says something, right? That is something that deserves importance. But these guys just shrug it off like there's nothing, right? We have bigger fish to fry, right? I mean, just accept that you lost the game. It does not mean that you're a worse team than Manchester United. You're of course better, but just accept it and move on. This petty nature that Liverpool fans have is something that just irks me so bad. And I was so glad that we were able to put them in their place. All this talk about, Klopp leaving and galvanizing the team and, them hitting an extra gear to win everything there is to win, was now that bubble has burst. And Ten Hag has done it. So, as a United fan, I'm extremely happy to bring them back down to earth, because they thought that, everything is going to go according to their way. This is the Premier League. This is English football, the most competitive league in the world. So that arrogance, even David James on the telecast that I was watching, which was Sony Live in India, was being so smug about things. He's just lost. And for a presenter, I agree that if you've been affiliated to a team, there is a certain bias that you'll always have, which is something that we also enjoy as fans. Which I think Carragher does it well. Gary Neville does it. Micah Richards or all of those folks do it. But the way that he was downplaying the achievements of Manchester United was so unprofessional, and I felt like that was completely, in a way, below the belt, and it didn't feel like it was a professional presenter. It felt like I was watching a random Liverpool fan covering the game. And my request to Sony Liv is to actually review that and really question whether David James belongs on your telecast as well, because India is a very big market and you want someone who can be neutral. I'm not saying get a United fan, but get someone who can comment on the game without having a lot of bias, right? Anyway, back to this entire, see, because no Manchester United and Liverpool match is free of all this banter and rivalry, right? So it it makes me feel really good that we are able to get one over them. Of course, in the grand scheme of things, I don't know how much this means, but it's good to get a win over them, because with the 7-0 and all of those things, and this being a 7-goal thriller, I think this is going to live on forever. And I'm just so glad to see. I'm not that petty with Liverpool, but these guys are, so that makes me petty, if you understand what that means, right? So it is a great game to have witnessed. In terms of individual performances, I thought Onana did well. Of course, he's conceded 3 goals, so he could have done a little better. But except for those, except for the goal, except for Salah's goal, I think he couldn't have done much. They were excellent goals. Both of them were deflected, I think. So Onana has been on a very good patch lately, and when he was not at his best, I heard everybody saying, Onana, you've spent like 50 plus mil on that, and you've not gotten the returns. But now that he's performing, everybody is mum. So two things at play. Of course, one is Manchester United. Nobody wants to talk good things about Manchester United. And the other bit, of course, is just him being a goalkeeper, and you understand how thankless that job is. If you make mistakes, it's going to be pointed out, but if you make great saves or whatever, it's not going to be pointed out as much. So great job, Onana. I really felt like he's improved his game. I think the way that he's parrying shots away from the goal, I think that is also something that he's been doing well. Of course, with the exception of the Salah goal. I think he's controlling his box very well. Leaping in terms of grabbing crosses and all of those things. I think Varane was a little shaky today. He was usually very sharp, but not today. I think he didn't protect Onana's goal enough. Lindelof, again, I can't fault him for his abilities or whatever they are in terms of how little they are, but that guy gives effort. I think in terms of his physicality, he really needs to get his game up. I think Van Bissaka did well. I think he was much better on the ball. And you can see that little progression. It's just that it's very slow, probably not up to United standards. Probably he was placed on the left because of Mohamed Salah's pace. I think he dealt with him pretty well. Salah also, looked a bit off color. Dallo is my player of the season. What a player that guy is. He gives you an 8 out of 10 every game. He does his job very well. He attacks very well, and he defends. He tracks back very well. I think positionally, in terms of defense, he needs a little work, because he then has to track back, which he should not be in the position in the first place. But I think the effort, the improvement, the growth, the attacking abilities, defensive abilities, and the passion that he shows on the pitch, I think Dallo is my player of the season. And his consistency is something that everybody should learn from. And I'm looking at Marcus Rashford, Bruno Fernandes, all the big players, including Casemiro. So Dallo, excellent again. As always, his tackles and his last ditch defending is going to be overlooked. But I would like to take your attention back to The tackle that he made, I think, on Gakpo in the penalty area, I think that was very good. Kobe Menu, super player, super player. That guy is going to drive Manchester United back to success. That guy has everything in the kind of composure that he has. He takes on 2, 3 Liverpool players like it's nothing. I think once he did that at the very start of the game, near the half line, uh, and I think once he did that, in the attacking third as well, the confidence that he uses is really good. Of course, enough said about. I think there's more than enough said about Kobe Menu. I still don't know why he didn't get picked. Jordan Henderson got picked for the England call up. I still don't understand. But there's a lot of politics or whatever it is at play. Uh, you know. In terms of Bruno, I think it's not surprising that he tries to do a lot in these big games and ends up with no output to show for in terms of paper, but he does what he does. And he has to control his emotions on the pitch, because he very nearly cost us a place in terms of playing, getting a red card and playing with 10 men against Liverpool. But he did what a captain should do. He played as the last defender while his team attacked. So I think that was pretty good as well. I think it was good to see Mount back. It was good to see Ericsson back as well. I Again, Scott McTominay. I think that is a player that is going to divide opinions. That is a player that even I kind of am in conflict about, because that guy plays very well sometimes. I think he's someone who is a number 10. Who is a very good national number 10, but can't play at that role since Bruno is also there. So it's just a misfortune in that regard. But that guy gives everything, and you could see his contribution today. I think he is also very close to being the man of the match today, because of course his first goal, his assist for the Rashford goal, and his overall energy was what kept us in the game as well. Garnacho, again, very good game. A lot of running. I think from the first to the 120th minute, he was still running at full pace. He had a assist for the last goal as well. Great game. In terms of Rashford, of course, I've spoken about him, during this video as well. But I think he needs a lot of work. He needs to work on his finishing again. I hope this game gives him the confidence that he needs to go back to his last year's form. In terms of Anthony, I think he still needs a lot. He needs to learn a lot. While I was watching the game, and I was thinking, we probably need some substitutions at this point, somewhere around the 70th minute. I felt like Amad Diallo. This was a game that Amad Diallo could do a lot, and of course, retrospect. But even during that time, I was thinking probably this is a very good game for Amad Diallo to come into, or even a Mason Mount to come into, because I was thinking, why did we keep Amad Diallo if we are not going to play him? He could have very well gone to some other league, played very well last year. He was the player of the league, so why did we keep him? He's such a talented boy. I think he also plays the number 10 role. He also plays on the wing. So this is a great game for him, and rightly so. He came in, did his job very well. That was a very foolish red card to get. I think these guys need to get their act together. But yes, that guy played very well, and I had my eye on him ever since we made that transfer out of the blue. And people were saying he's actually very good. He's very good, because I remember we paying some 37 mil for him, which was an outrageous amount to pay for a guy that you've never heard of, and I felt like he has a very good future ahead of him. Today, you've seen that his nerves is something that he can control and score a very good goal. And the way that the ball rolled into the goal, very slowly, it kind of, I thought my heart skipped a beat for a moment. I was just holding my breath and just watching that ball roll, because I didn't think that he hit it. He struck it very well. So I thought, okay, that's probably going wide, because we've seen those chances going wide so many times just during this game. So the way that the ball rolled into it, I thought, okay, this is going outside. Probably we're heading for a penalty, and it turned in and the net moved, and I was like, wow, this is it. This is really it. This is 4-3. And at that moment, I went stir crazy. I That was that was worth the 2.5 hours that I spent on that game. So overall, a superb game to have witnessed. Uh, I think this gives us a lot of hope. I hope Dave Brailsford and Sir Jim Ratcliffe also watch that game and at least see what Ten Hag is trying to build towards. In the end, I'm not biased towards any manager. I want what is best for the club, but uh, of course, Ten Hag has been here for 1.5 or so years, and you can see what he's trying to build towards. I still, I still wonder what is our style of play. Uh, I think that is something that we have to figure out. But it was a I'm happy for Ten Hag. The way that you saw him smiling, he was smiling year to year. So I have not seen him do that for his entire tenure here. So it was a good thing to witness. I think Old Trafford was buzzing after a long time. After a long time, I think everybody got a very good reason to be happy. I'm very happy for the 9,000 Liverpool fans to go back, dejected. That's football. I've been on the other side, way too many times. So I'm very happy that we were able to stick it to Liverpool, right? But yeah, great game. We're heading into the international break as well, so it's a good thing to remember it by, because the way that the game was extending, I thought, whoever loses is going to have a very bad 2 weeks. So that was a great game to witness. As for myself, yes, I had a hiatus for about a year. I'm back now though, hoping to be more consistent about things. There's a lot of things that I've also been trying out. So I was also kind of prioritizing this, not prioritizing this. What I've been feeling as a United fan also is that it really drains you. It's a very draining thing to be a Manchester United fan right now. So sometimes I felt like it was taking too much from me, and having a commitment like this would probably drain me even further. But I'm trying to stick to it. Shout out to my family. Shout out to my friend Garima, who pushes me to do this as well. But yes, I'm hoping that I could be more regular. Uh, good times ahead with Jim Ratcliffe joining as well. I think he means business. He's going to take us back to the top. But yes, overall, very good to be back in front of the camera. This is not something that comes to me very naturally. But yeah, it's surely fun talking about my club, right? All right, we gonna be all right in due time. Yeah. All right then. Thanks so much for watching. I know all my friends and family are only watching this. But yes, thanks for tuning in so much. Thanks for your support. Really appreciate it. Stay tuned, and I'll be back for more. Yeah. Thank you.